So last night, Donald Trump was heavily booed at WWE's Summerslam event. And before I play a clip of that happening, I'm going to give you a little bit of context as to what it is you're seeing. So when they have these live events, they will show us stuff that we're watching on Peacock. We're sitting there watching it, and they will show us the footage. And then the crowd is seeing it on big jumbo screens. And I've been to WWE SummerSlam back when it came to Nashville, so I know what that's like to be kind of sitting up in the nosebleed section, and then the stuff that the people are seeing at home, the commercials and stuff, are rolling across the big screen. So they played a clip of where Paul Levesque, who is known by his wrestling name as Triple H. He's now the chief content officer of the WWE. He met with Donald Trump to talk about making America fit again. And when they rolled the clip of that, this is what happened. So now some of you may be saying, Brando, how exactly is this news? How is Donald Trump being booed in that moment news? Well, I do draw a lot of comparisons to Donald Trump and the WWE here on the channel, but it's bigger than that. It's the fact that that should have been an absolute safe space for Donald Trump. That should have been a space where he should have been cheered at a WWE event, because he's been tied to the WWE for many years. I remember back when I was a kid, my earliest memories of Donald Trump, because I had no knowledge of who he was, my earliest memories of him is WrestleManias 4 and 5 taking place from Trump Plaza. And those were two of my favorite WrestleManias, I hate to say. Not giving Trump any credit. But that's the one where the Macho Man won the title in the tournament and beat the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. That's still, to me, Macho Man's best elbow drop of all time. It was so long and far, and it was awesome. And I just remember being a kid watching that. The following year at WrestleMania 5, Hulk Hogan defeated the Macho Man, and probably what was one of Hogan's better matches, because I never really thought Hogan was a great wrestler. But in that one, they really pulled it off. And Trump was sitting there on the front row. You know, he was sitting there on the front row. You got to remember, too, Trump is a WWE Hall of Famer. They have a celebrity wing where they put people who has done things in WWE in the Hall of Fame, and so they put him in there. So the President of the United States is a WWE Hall of Famer, and that should have been a place where that he should have been received more warmly. But you could hear a loud chorus of boos coming from that crowd. And that's something that I didn't see as I was sitting there watching it on Peacock. I'm just seeing that and going, oh man, that's disappointing that Triple H is, standing there alongside Trump and RFK Jr. talking about making America fit again. And it sucks because, I've been a fan of WWE my whole life. And I really like Triple H as a performer. I think he's one of the best to ever do it. Some of the best matches I've ever seen have been Triple H matches. I love the one that he had with Cactus Jack at the Royal Rumble. I still think that's one of the best. The ones he had with Undertaker at WrestleMania were classics, all three of them. And so it's disappointing when you see people who you admire their work take that path. But that's not the point I'm trying to make here. The point I'm trying to make is that should have been a place where Donald Trump should have received a much warmer welcome, and he didn't, just when they showed the clip on the screen. And I believe it's got nothing to do with, well, that was up in New Jersey, that was up around that part of the world, that's blue, those people booed him. Had nothing to do with that. I really believe the reason why that Donald Trump is losing so many of his base is because now he's hurting them. He's letting them down. He's disappointing them. He's been hurting them all along, and we've been pointing it out. We've been sitting here going, hey, look, he's screwing you over. We point it out every single day. But it was the Epstein stuff that really started making them realize that he wasn't going to deliver on the things that they thought he was going to deliver on. Because all the other things that he promised, he could always find a way to blame that on Joe Biden. He could always find a way to blame that on Democrats. He comes in and he promises cheaper eggs. He promises a lower grocery bill. That doesn't happen. So what does he do? He turns and blames Biden with that. Well, this is Biden's economy. I'm trying to pick up the Biden mess. And so voters are sitting back going, give him some time now, Brando. He's going to make it work. These trade wars are going to work. These tariffs are going to work. It's going to be good. Then the jobs report comes out. And what does he do? He fires the head of the people that said that. Like, hey, fire the person that fire the messenger, basically, is what he said. But they can still find a way to blame that on Biden, twist it around. This is what they were really hoping for. They were wanting to see Donald Trump bring down Democrats. And this entire time that we've been trying to point to every mistake he made and every letdown that he made and every time that he screwed them over, they couldn't hear it because this was the big moment that they were waiting for. This was going to be the moment where they were going to put us all to bed. This is going to be the moment where they were going to go, see, we were right all along. And now they're having to eat this big, massive plate of crow. And so even when they go out to a WWE event to take their mind off of all of it and just watch the WWE, they look up on that big jumbo screen and they see Triple H sitting there beside Donald Trump and they begin to boo. And why? Because he finally let them down. Now, it is crazy to me that after all that we've went through and after all that Donald Trump has done, this is the moment where they're let down. And that's one of the biggest parts, folks. And I'm just being honest. I'm just being real with you here. That's one of the hardest hurdles I'm having to get over personally when it comes to forgiving, if I would ever even be able to do that. But when it comes to moving past all this with those type of people. Because to me, January 6th was the absolute ultimate deal breaker. There were deal breakers way before that. Actually, I would have never considered him for a second. But I'm going to go ahead and give him the first term. But January 6th is where it's the absolute deal breaker for me. How anyone could stick with that man after that point is absolutely beyond me. And so everything that we brought up in front of them, they called it fake news. Everything that he did right out in the open, they called it fake news. And now finally, this is what breaks them. Finally, this is what brings it down. It's like, oh, he didn't deliver on Epstein, so now we're through with him. The problem I have with that is, okay, everyone says, well, Brando, that's a win. Welcome them back into the fold. Yeah, but we're welcoming people back into the fold that was okay with letting him take away rights from women. They were okay with him trampling over everyone that they disagreed with and whose lifestyle they didn't approve of. They were okay with him turning the government into a weapon against everyone else. So my question is, have they changed on all of that? Have they changed on all of those things? Are their stances different? Or are they just going to line up and get behind J.D. Vance and continue to support people who are for taking away rights from people that they disagree with? Now, I think this is a big moment. I think him getting booed at a WWE event is a huge moment. And I think, yeah, sometimes we got to take the win and go, you know what? That's pretty significant that on a place where he should have been safe, he got booed. But there's still so much work to be done here, folks. There's so much work that we have to do in order to be able to move forward. And you sit back and think about all that you've seen him do just in the first 7 months. Folks, we're just here at the start of August. And we have seen so many rights be stripped away from people. And there are people out there who don't even know about it, who aren't even paying attention, who are just going about their life and then going, huh? What are y'all arguing about? What are you protesting for? So there's still a lot of work to be done. I think that's a good sign that people are turning on Trump, and I'm glad to see it, and I want to see more of it. I would like to have seen the boos be even louder than that. They should have been even louder than that a long time ago. But we have to move forward, and we have to, when these people begins to boo and see through what he's done, the next step is to also let them see while they were cheering him on what they allowed to happen. Because I think that's the bigger picture. It's great that they're seeing through it. It's great that they're booing him. But a lot of people got hurt along the way while they were trying to one-up us and own the libs. That's why I'm not so willing to just make nice all of a sudden and pat him on the back and say, it's all right, buddy. That's okay. I can't do that just yet. Because we saw so much injustice. And we're seeing so much injustice. So were they booing because they weren't booing, folks, because women's rights got stripped away. They weren't booing because immigrants are being sent out of this country with no due process. They were booing over this Epstein stuff, and they're mad about it at the moment. Now, maybe some were. I mean, I'm sure y'all are saying, no, wait a minute, Brando, some were booing for those reasons. Yes, absolutely, some of them were. But the MAGAs who are just now jumping ship, they sat back and let all that happen, and now they're jumping ship. That's the point I was trying to make. I understand that not everybody was booing for the exact same reason. But when I see these things, I just realize that, yeah, it's good. It's good that we're here. It's good that they're seeing through it. But there's a lot more work to do. And I hope that they're willing to see the error of their ways on a whole lot more than just they thought Trump was going to drain the swamp. They thought Trump was going to expose the deep state. No, folks, he was always the swamp. He just went in and took over a swamp and made it his. That's really all he did. And to make a wrestling analogy here for you to close, it's like back in the day when Vince McMahon bought up all the smaller territories. And that's what he did. For those of you that don't realize it, wrestling used to be split up into territories all around the countries. I love the Mid Atlantic. I love the Georgia Championship wrestling. I'm a Southerner. Okay, so I love that. And I love the Von Erichs down in Texas. Loved all that stuff. That's my jam. We could talk about that all day. But there was all these territories. And Vince McMahon comes out of the Northeast and he just starts putting on his shows in all those other territories. And he just took over and he just put it all under one big banner. That's what Trump did to the swamp. He just come in. He was a swamp. He was a bigger swamp. And he just went out there and he just took over the swamp and made it his. Don't ever let Donald Trump tell you that he was going to drain the swamp. He is, was, and will always be the swamp. But folks, I do appreciate y'all so much for sticking with me here on the channel. We did it. We crossed over 800,000 subscribers. We're already up to like 803 last time I looked before I sat down to do this video. So I'm super grateful to all of you for that. It means the world to me. Thank you so much for helping me to build this community here. Never thought it was possible, but you all made it possible, and I truly do appreciate you. So if you would ever like to check out our Patreon, be sure and do so. The link is in the description of this video. We do all kinds of stuff over there. We have a lot of exclusive content, interviews, Q&As, polls, all kinds of cool stuff. We sometimes take a break from the politics too and step away and talk about wrestling. And I may do a Mount Rushmore video of my favorite wrestling territories. So, you know, that's stuff we do to try to keep on moving forward. And if you want to take part in that, try it on for size. If you can afford it, if you like it, try it on for size. If you don't, cancel it. I don't care. I'm not here to grift you. I'm not trying to sell you sneakers. I sure as hell ain't going to autograph a Bible and give it to you. I'll try to sell it to you. So I just appreciate all the support here on the channel. And one of the perks is if you become a patron, then you get a shout out at the end of random YouTube videos, and you'll see what I mean by that when this video ends. So yeah, I truly do appreciate y'all, and we'll just keep moving forward. And all we can do at this point, folks, is hope for the best. I do believe we can get there, and I truly do appreciate you for your support.